Everything you'll ever want. It's everything I'll ever need. I got these new juggling clubs. They're the PX3s from Play Juggling. I got them on Renegade, so I could like custom order. I actually don't know. Can you order from Play Juggling directly? I don't know. But they're all like color coordinated. I'm so happy. I can like kind of juggle them, like kind of. I'm gonna say a lot of things in this video, but I need to be clear like right now at the beginning that nothing I'm gonna say is directed towards the performers. All of the performers in this show are immensely talented and deserve stable work for the rest of their lives, as every performer does. These people did the absolute best that anyone could do with what they were given. I am only here to critique what they were given. Okay, so backstory, Ringling Circus closed in 2017. They cited low ticket sales, and then in 2023 they said, hey, we're coming back. Now I'm here to complain about their 2026 show. Ringling Circus has always been, to even the oldest people watching this, a very large operation. It had maybe the most visibility of any circus next to Cirque du Soleil, maybe. It was the greatest show on earth. Sorry, the greatest party on earth. That's what they're calling it now during the show, to make it more relatable for kids. Today, Ringling is like overwhelmingly and distinctly corporate. Constantly during the show, I could envision some hacks in a boardroom. The framing device of this video was a boardroom. I could hear hacks sitting in a boardroom, sitting around, and being like, oh, you know what we should do? You know what would be really marketable? I have a great idea. And that was like the whole show. So, stupid boardroom idea number 1. This show was designed for low attention spans. Like 90% of this show, at any time, except for a few instances, there is constantly multiple things happening at once. And all of the things that are happening have competing levels of importance. So it's not like there's one large act and then there's an accompanying small act on the side. Instead, everything is competing with itself, so you don't know where to look. Multiple acts suffered from this. The one that I think about the most is the girl power act. It was all girls performing for this act. It was very feminist, very woke. We love woke in 2026. It was to Gwen Stefani's I'm Just a Girl. It was like a cover of it, I think. I can't remember if it was a cover because there was a lot going on and I couldn't absorb 4 things at once. There was like aerial dancers, there was a group of girls doing balancing acts, and then there was a single contortionist. They all performed together, like they performed at the same time. But all of their acts were in separate areas of the floor, so you had to decide which thing you wanted to watch and miss out on the other 3 things. I actually reviewed a performance like this like 2 videos ago. It was a Winter Guard show titled Shelter in Place by Onyx Winter Guard. I think it was performed 2019. In that performance, there was always something different going on with each performer on the floor. So you had a different experience every time you watched it because you just had to pick someone and they would be doing something interesting. Eventually, this show did reach overall unity, and the chaos was just a build-up. The reason the chaos worked for that show was because that show was about a tornado, and the chaos was intentional. The circus should be silly and goofy, so I'm not saying that Ringling needs to straighten up, but if you're gonna have chaos, it needs to either be the point or you need to control it. If there are too many things going on the floor, every act becomes meaningless. And you as an audience member are like low-key stressed because you're worried about missing something cool because you just want to watch something, but like the other 2 things that are going on also kind of need your attention and you want to have the best experience. I feel like this design is also just a symptom of low faith in your performers. Like you just don't think the audience will care. The audience that paid to be here. Maybe kids will get fussy, but like, what, now we're all slaves to the youth's need for instant gratification? Now every show, every live show that you see has to have the timing of an infinite scroll app because you don't trust people to pay attention otherwise. The attention span needed for a circus show, it's still possible for your average consumer. It just takes a second. Stupid boardroom idea number 2, Ringling is now incredibly kid-oriented. The circus is like, it's always been family friendly, like it was expected that you would bring your children, but I got the impression from early videos of Ringling and like stories from other clowns that I know that Ringling sort of used to be like the grown-up roller coaster where like kids could go if they were tall enough, but nowadays Ringling is kind of like the teacup ride. Parents tolerate it for the sake of their kids. You really felt this during the pre-show and the interactive crowd events, like during intermission. It was very kid oriented. It was like, guess what color this is, and it was like a crayon on a screen. The host was approaching children in the crowd and holding her mic up to them and being like, what's your favorite party food? Completely detached from the adult attendees. I'm a grown woman and I don't want to be condescending condescended to about my favorite party food. The main like kid-oriented thing that I literally can't stop thinking about it is Ringling has this influencer character now, okay? They have this guy who's playing an influencer, and during the pre-show, there's like a video on a big screen, and it's this guy recording himself, and he's like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm live streaming from backstage at Ringling Circus, and I'm here to do all the character introductions. And it's like, I'm an influencer, and I'm here to tell you what the circus is all about. He says the word influencer. You know what would be really marketable? An influencer character. Surveys are showing that a lot of Gen Alpha wants to be influencers when they grow up. We should put that in. That'll be really relatable to the kids. This guy makes regular appearances during the show as the influencer, and it gave me ample time to think about his outfit. His outfit was so insane. They literally dressed this guy like it was 2013. He like literally 2013. He had this varsity jacket. Okay, remember when that was a trend? And it was this horrifying blue polyester satin material, and they gave him like skinny jeans, like so skinny that people aren't wearing them right now, and they gave him a fedora, guys. They gave him a fedora. Literally 10 years out of date, this guy was dressed. He was dressed like it was 2013. It's unbelievable. And I felt like I'm gonna keep bringing up the boardroom the whole video, but I know that it was this boardroom full of idiots, and a guy was like, this is what cool guys wore when I was in high school, me, a 38-year-old. So I'm gonna pressure the costume designer into producing this for the cool guy influencer character to wear, because in my head, this is still what cool young guys wear. Unintentionally, I could be like seriously insulting the costume designer right now. Like maybe this was entirely her doing. Maybe this guy had input on like what his costume looked like, but like someone at some point needed to step up and be like, it is not 2013 anymore. Like, get that guy out of here. This performer, I assume auditioned as a unicyclist because he was a very, very, very talented unicyclist, but they cast him as an influencer. Like, he does get featured in a unicycling act, but his dominant role in the show is influencer. So like that's what you remember him as. Free this guy, dude. Free this guy from the shackles of influencing and let him fucking ride his unicycle. Please, for the love of God. Next thing that's popular with youth, Maddox Batson.
Hey, Bailey.
Hey, Maddox. Welcome to my doghouse.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you can sit right there on the bean bag. Wait a minute. Are you famous?
I almost forgot to write this section because there's so much going on in this show that this was like a blip on my radar. I almost forgot to talk about it, even though it's hysterical. I literally had no clue who the hell this kid was until I saw this show. I entered the venue and like there's kiosks set up with merchandise for the show, and I noticed that like each kiosk there was a portion of the merch that had Maddox Batson on it. It was like a t-shirt or like a hoodie with his face on it. You can buy it online, if you want some, you can go buy it on their website right now. Maddox Batson X Ringling. Who the hell is Maddox Batson? I said. Maddox is a 16-year-old country singer. He only has like 20 songs right now. Maddox Batson has only been someone since like 2024. He released like his first song, it went viral. He co-wrote a song for Lana Del Rey. He's like a prodigy or something, I don't know. I assume he's regarded as talented. And because he's so young, his fan base is very similar to Justin Bieber's when he was a kid, except it's narrowed down even further to like young girls that like country. I don't care or know about this kid because I'm not a 12-year-old girl that listens to country. His whole Instagram page is just like photos of himself mostly, and like 13-year-olds in his comments being like, you're so cute, and like leaving heart. I got uncomfortable scrolling through his comments because I was like, these are children. They're all kids. Everyone in this comment section is children. Or like really creepy adult women, I don't know. So December of 2025, Ringling announced that they were doing a collab with Maddox Batson. They did like 2 little posts about it on their website. The collab looks like this. It's the Ringling X Maddox Batson merch, which I described earlier. And then there's a 3-minute segment during the show where there's a unicycle performance to one of Maddox's songs. I think it was by the influencer guy. That's the guy who's unicycling, and like his partner. And then they put a video of Maddox on the big screen, like performing during this part, like performing his song, I think. And then also there's a brief kids segment during the show where he's talking to one of the circus characters, Bailey, about his life story or something.
Where are you from, Maddox?
North of Nashville. I lived half of my life there and half of my life in Alabama.
Whoa.
Yep.
And that's the collab, that's it. What I find hysterical about this, besides the fact that like it's some 16-year-old kid, is that Maddox Batson has zero interest in promoting this collab. Other entities have promoted this collab by like writing articles about it. There's a lot of articles about like young country music star Maddox Batson teams up with Ringling, Maddox Batson runs away to the circus or whatever. Ringling, as I said, posted about it multiple times. Maddox's fan account, there's a fan account for him, also posted about it. His fan account has more visibility on this subject than his account does. Maddox, in all of this, is absent. There is not even an Instagram post on his account about this collab. I couldn't find anything on X. Nothing came out in the search results. Like, everyone is promoting this collab except this kid, the guy who's in it. I don't know if Maddox is ashamed of this collab or if he thinks that he's like above it or something. Maybe he like felt like he was small enough where it was worth it when he accepted it, and then by the time it was announced, he was like, I'm too big for this now or something. He literally did not promote this at all, and I'm not sure if Ringling thought that having this kid around would bring them visibility among young people. I mean, because I don't think anyone over the age of like 18 knew who this kid was, unless their kids liked it. The thing is, like, Maddox's feature in this show was such a break in character. It was so out of place. If I were a young person who didn't know who this guy was, that performance would not make me totally fall in love with him after. So the only person who I can understand would like thoroughly enjoy this was like a pre-existing fan of Maddox. But like, are those people gonna go pay to see the circus just for his feature? Like, I don't know that it was advertised enough where his fans even know about it. Especially because Maddox didn't endorse it. He didn't talk about it at all. Like, if I were his fan and I saw that my favorite guy didn't talk about this collab at all on his socials, that would be discouraging. Like, I wouldn't go see the show. Okay, more relatable kid stuff. There was this cartoon, and it was like, I don't know if it was low budget, but like there just kind of wasn't a lot to it. What was it called? It was these different anthropomorphized circus props with like eyes and a face. I think they talked, I don't know, I don't even think this segment was like 5 minutes long. I literally can't remember.
We are the Ringlings, we are the Ringlings. Every night a brand new sight.
The Ringlings, guys! It's so much worse than I remember. I just watched it again and it's so bad. No hate to the artist. I know it was just some upper corporate guy like micromanaging this project into the ground. What they showed us, it was just like their theme song. We are the Ringlings, we are the Ringlings. It's so annoying. At the end, they were like, you can see more of the Ringlings on our YouTube channel. And then you go to the channel and there's like a 20-minute compilation of all 10 episodes, so I think they were all like 2 minutes long. Rewatching this like just made me like, it really just sunk in like how corporate this show is. It's so insane. Another kids thing they added, at the beginning of the show, they have this green screened mascot that appears on the big screen. He's a dragon. It's like a guy in a suit, and he appears at on this AI generated cotton candy house. I think it was implied that like that's where he lives, but they like couldn't get the AI to make it so he's like in the house. So they just put the PNG of the full cotton candy house and just like slap him on it. It's so weird. The dragon goes off the screen and then he comes out for real, and it's the same guy in like a mascot suit. And there's pyrotechnics during this part, like because he's breathing fire because he's a dragon. I think we never ever see the dragon again for like the rest of the show. Maybe we do see him again. I don't remember because there was too much going on in the show. These things are useless and like provided no continuity to the show. They just existed for the sake of themselves because some guys in a boardroom were like, you know what would be super marketable? If we had like a cartoon and then like the kids would love that. Or if we had a dragon mascot and then you could go to the gift shop and buy a plush of the dragon. That would be so marketable. Kids will love the dragon. I expect that the kids will become very attached to the dragon after seeing him once in the whole show and then never again. And they'll want to watch all the new Ringlings cartoon episodes online after seeing it once during the show and then never again. Can I talk about the gift shop for a second? I was very disappointed in the lack of circus props for sale. Everything for sale was plushes or those light up like toy spinner ones that were actually really annoying. Sometimes the show would be dark and then like a toddler a few seats down had like this giant spinning glowing thing. It was super loud. Toys that were clearly licensed to Ringling, like they were pre-manufactured and they just had Ringling branding slapped on it. They had like animal plushes, like they had like horses and I think like an elephant plush or like a mammoth or something. But like Ringling doesn't have animals anymore, so you need like other identifiable circus stuff. I was at least expecting like juggling balls or pins or like a clown nose. The most identifiable thing to Ringling, like current Ringling, that I think they were selling was plushes of their actual mascot, which is Bailey the robot dog. Let's talk about Bailey. In 2016, Ringling Circus lost their elephants. They've been going through animal rights problems for years with the ASPCA and like other organizations surrounding their use of animals during the show. 2016, Ringling lost their animals. 2017, they shut down. And then 2023, they come back and there's no animal. Enter Bailey.
Welcome to Bailey's Doghouse.
Hey, Bailey.
Hey, Maddox. Welcome to my doghouse.
Awesome. Thank you so
Name referring to Barnum and Bailey, of course. The robot dog. She's one of those Boston Dynamics dog robots. It's distinctly a robot dog. Like, it makes robot puns the whole time, and they give it these, like, blinking LED eyes. They give her these pre-recorded voice lines so she can talk to the other performers. She's in, like, most of the big screen videos.
Yep.
During the pre-show, I actually got to watch this thing. They had it on this platform, like, talking to the host, and I got to watch it eat shit off the platform when it tried to get off, and it was genuinely stunned, frozen on the ground for like 20 seconds. It was maybe the hardest I laughed like the whole show. The thing about the dog is, like, I get they're trying to provide the audience an emotional supplement for the real animals. A lot of people were attached to the animals. I'll get back to that. And I almost appreciate that Ringling has refused to try bringing them back. Like, they're not even gonna go for it. But and I say this with the understanding that Bailey may have been a decision made before any of this was relevant, but, like, we are living in an age of AI terror. They're forcing AI on all of us so violently. They're paving over nature to build data centers. Google is becoming a chatbot, like, exclusively, it seems like. You can't trust any of Pinterest now. It's all garbage. So in this large-scale panic where people are losing their jobs, industries are collapsing because the people on top want to replace as much labor as possible with AI, to their detriment usually. A robot dog feels like tone deaf. Even if they decided on the robot dog like way before all of this, strangely at the same time, having the robot dog is both more empathetic towards animals and yet less empathetic towards humans. So I'm not really docking points for Bailey. She's not a negative point. I'm just, like, talking about it. Anyway, I think the solution to this, honestly, is just to not have Bailey. I don't think you need her. I think she just reminds people that there is a gap where animals used to be. Instead, you could just not have her. Bailey's merch is also really interesting because they're all, like, squishmallow shaped instead of robot shaped. Do you have to get licensing from Boston Dynamics to make a plush of their robot? Is that what it is? You can't make plushes of the robot? I guess, can you shut up? I guess it's pretty iconic. Like, everyone on earth has seen a video of the Boston Dynamics dog robot. So I understand if they want to keep those rights for themselves to make merchandise. Maybe then it's something Ringling should have considered, like, how marketable is Bailey? What kind of merch can we make of Bailey? Since apparently marketability was the only thing considered for literally everything else. My bangs are, like, pissing me off. I was surprised to see that the majority of the negative reviews of Ringling, like current Ringling, especially on TikTok, were by parents being like, I took my kids to see Ringling Circus and there weren't any elephants or lions or tigers. Where are the animals? I was shocked by this because it was my perception that most of the public had an issue with Ringling's use of animals. Like, as long as I've been alive and I've heard the circus discussed, it was a defining issue that came up, like, why are they using animals? That's abuse. It seemed like everyone was concerned with this, and then now that the animals are gone, suddenly everyone was totally down for it. Like SeaWorld, I think that Ringling was relying on customers' willful ignorance towards the abuse of animals because animals brought in money. So I actually went back and I watched old camcorder videos of Ringling performances because I was trying to understand what sort of presentation they were using to achieve this ignorance among the audience. I'm gonna talk about zoos for a second, particularly the Phoenix Zoo. Zoos, despite some public belief, are actually really vital for the preservation of animals. All of the African and Asian big cats and elephants that Phoenix Zoo owned were rescues, like animals that couldn't go out in the wild or take care of themselves, or they were born in captivity, so there was no way to, like, release them back out there. Phoenix Zoo actually doesn't even have elephants anymore because they were all geriatric rescue elephants. So once they died, the Phoenix Zoo just let it go, and they didn't go out and try to find new, young, fresh elephants because Phoenix Zoo doesn't care about animals for entertainment. Selling zoo tickets is just what keeps the funding for these animals alive. Like, it's almost incidental that we're allowed to view the animals at all. The elephants and big cats at the zoo were given huge habitats, and, like, often you wouldn't even really be able to see them because they were given spaces where they could run away or hide if they wanted to. Any given day was theirs to do with whatever they wanted. If they wanted to lounge around and play, like, there was literally no expectations of these animals except to eat the food given and like maybe be put under sedation occasionally for medical care. They're treated very reverently. So when I watched these old videos of the animal acts at Ringling Circus, I was disturbed to see these regal creatures being commanded to jump to and from various platforms and obediently follow this human ringmaster before them. Like, it seems degrading. Tigers are like magnificent ancient beasts, okay? People get tigers and lions tattooed on them because they're like cool badass alpha males or whatever. You go watch The Lion King or like any lion media really, and it's like, behold the profound and inherent regality of the mighty African lion, king of the jungle, king of all the sun touches. Behold its brother in the circle of life, the elephant. And then in the circus it's like, behold this majestic beast, now tamed into submission by humans who have paved over its habitat to make room for more humans. I don't understand at all, actually, how someone could see these acts and not feel like there was something immensely wrong. This is independent of any abuse allegations. Like, even if they're not whipping or poking or shocking these animals constantly, which I find hard to believe, but let's pretend that we believe that for a second, that there's absolutely no, like, 0% negative reinforcement going on, like nothing. It's still unsettling to see these animals submitting to human authority in this way. And, like, caging them for transport constantly on a train car is crazy. Ringling actually used to travel by train pre-shutdown. A lot of train enthusiasts have videos of like, this was the very last time that the Ringling Circus train came into this town at this station, and here's a video of it. Like, it's really interesting. I found like 5 of those. They don't travel by train anymore. Like, they shut down, and when they came back, they're now using these big cool trucks, which I do like looking at them. They're cool. But like, theoretically, when they did travel by train, you would have to cage these animals constantly for transport. Like, imagine if you were made to sit for like 8-hour plane rides constantly every 3 days. Like, yeah, they're not hitting you or shocking you constantly, but like, you would still prefer to be left alone to do what you wanted in your native habitat. And instead, your habitat is a circus where you like don't really know why you're being made to do anything except obeying gives you food, so you obey, and you're always being given instructions, always obeying, always performing. And that's not a natural way for a wild animal to live. It's weird. It's weird and gross. The only way I could see someone like not really being troubled by this is if you had seen this as a kid, like the circus with animal acts, and you'd seen that and you had never been to like a zoo before, and you didn't really have like the context of an entity that actually cares about their animals. So you would just see animals performing as normal. When you see people arguing about this, they're always like, yeah, but when I saw the animals at the Ringling Circus, they seemed totally happy and they're totally well fed and they're in great health. And it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense actually, because the Ringling Circus cares about its product. It has to take care of it. The circus is going to optimize the physical well-being of its animals as much as possible so they can keep performing. Does that mean the company cares? When the company follows what is legally required of them to do, to not be charged with animal abuse, does that mean the company cares? If they were, say, allowed to use bull hooks on their elephants, because technically, according to the relevant authorities, bull hooks don't count as abuse, does that mean they care? How much would Ringling be doing to their animals if they could get away with it? How much would the smaller circuses with less eyes on them have gotten away with if they had let circuses continue to use animals in their act? Again, animals, they're not at Ringling anymore. They're not performing in the circus, so it's frustrating that I've said this much about it, but like, I had to address it. It's the elephant in the room. But because they're not at Ringling anymore, I'm also just not open to debate about this, and I'm just gonna delete comments arguing with me. I don't want animals in the circus, period, which sucks because I love elephants. I love elephants. I love looking at them. I just don't want them to have to perform tricks for me. Like, I just want to watch them eat grass, man. What do zoos feed elephants? Shut the fuck up. I don't want to do AI mode. Okay, so zoos feed their elephants, like, hay, among other things, like fruit as well. It looks like grass, but I guess it's hay. Next thing, where are the clowns? Another thing I saw reviewers complaining about, and this one actually surprised me more than the animals thing, was a lot of them were asking where all the clowns were. The makeup I'm wearing is actually what I wear in like every video. It's not just for this theme. I'm an actual clown. Like, I saw this show with some fellow clowns from my alley, and I was devastated that we didn't see a lineup of clowns at Ringling. Ringling used to be the career destination for many aspiring clowns. They used to run the Ringling Clown College, now gone forever, and a lot of people, when discussing fond memories of Ringling, they bring up a clown, like they bring up a happy interaction with one. In this past show, there were only 2 clowns. There were 2, one of them was named like Rick Rack, I think, and the other one was named Paddywhack. Or was the first one Knick Knack? They did a lot of fun slapstick humor. They were supposed to be like the backstage guys who were like working pulleys or lights or whatever. But like that was their character, was their characters were stagehands, and they were getting into various hijinks using stagehand props. I actually got an up close look at their makeup, and what stood out to me was that their makeup kind of barely read as clown at all. Very bright but minimal red blush, like kind of just in the way women wore red blush in the 80s. They did use some white paint, but it was in like an Auguste way, like it wasn't the whole face. One of them had like a red lip, and they did have noses, but it was more of like a very light blush, like kind of in the way like the 2020s alt kids were doing it, like very subtle. You could barely see it from the audience. I need to re-emphasize, like there were only 2 clowns, I think. There was technically 3 clowns, but I think what it was there was only one of them that was like the serious intellectual clown, and then the other 2 were buffoons. And because the other 2 were buffoons, I had trouble like telling them apart, and I think I feels like there was only 2 of them, but I think there was technically 3, I just don't remember. My confusion here was because there's actually 3 clowns with all like coordinating names, but the show I saw, one of them was out with an injury, and they changed the show to like work with it. When I checked on Instagram, on the Ringling Instagram, I saw that there was 3 clowns, and because I had forgotten so much stuff because there's too much going on, I was just immediately willing to accept the reality that I had just thought there was 2, but there was actually 3. So I think it's like the one main smart-ish clown, which I saw, and then like a buffoon clown. I think the other clown is a buffoon character as well. If you're the main smart clown, if you're watching this, can you please comment your full name and phone number down below? But there's only these 2 or 3 guys, I guess, and Ringling tones down their makeup a lot, so they barely read as clown. I think Ringling is afraid to bring back clowns full force, so they had to kind of like humanize the few that they did have so that they're just like funny guys and not clowns. If you can think of humans as separate from clowns, I don't know. I think Ringling is suffering from the same thing McDonald's was suffering from with Ronald McDonald, where like clowns are unfortunately seen as creepy now by like a large amount of the population, like a significant amount. A small percentage already were like just organically afraid of clowns on their own, and everyone else who's afraid of clowns was taught to be by horror movies. I think the presence of clowns in haunt attractions, like haunted houses that you go to around Halloween, that might have contributed to this, but I would argue that haunt clowns, and many clowns agree with this, that like haunt clowns are like their own type of totally valid clown. It's a very cool type of clown, actually. But I also think that haunt clowns, like visually, are just very distinguishable from the other not scary clowns, so I just don't really understand the fear continuing outside of a haunt attraction. But the nail in the coffin, in my opinion, was the 2016 clown craze. If you for some reason don't know about this because you're 11 years old, in 2016 there was like a bunch of sightings of creepy clowns in like various creepy locations. There was like images going viral. This was in America specifically, I think, and so people were scared of clowns like coming to get them. There was no murders or violence or anything, like it was just clown sightings. This was happening right around Halloween, and my school actually banned clown costumes at school that year for Halloween. It was incredibly topical, and now that I'm looking back at it 10 years later, it was also incredibly stupid, and I think everyone was just caught up in the hype and like also wanted to be afraid of clowns with their friends. There was rumors it like came from a marketing stunt for a clown horror movie, not it, a different unrelated clown movie, and it just spiraled out of control. Anyway, McDonald's had been phasing out Ronald for like a while by that point, so 2016 was like, and Ringling shut down. So another thing that has been especially bad recently is people calling politicians clowns, specifically that guy. Like they're putting his face on protest signs with clown makeup. If actual clowns ran this country, we would have this shit fixed in like 2 weeks. Clowns have dignity. Don't insult us comparing us to politicians or billionaires. Same thing. Clown has always been an insult, I guess, but like recently it's just been super aggressive. I remember seeing this casting call on Instagram. It was for like, they were looking for clowns to be extras in the background of a show or something. And everyone in the comments was like, oh, should I tag my ex-boyfriend? Should I tag my ex-girlfriend? Or like tagging their friends jokingly like, oh, this would be perfect for you. And the friend would be like, hey, that's not nice. The few comments from actual clowns were like completely buried under this mess, and I suspect some actual clowns like genuinely missed out on this opportunity because everyone just took the opportunity to insult their exes. I am mourning a future for clowns in the circus. I feel like clown events or like clown conventions these days are more about the preservation of clowning and like fondly remembering the history of clowning than they are like networking events. Clowns used to be everything. They were at children's parties like regularly. They were featured on children's products and home goods. And you could go to clown college. There was clown college. It's not like a 4-year thing, but it's like a training program, you know? Now there's kind of a clown college, but more often it's just like a clown camp for like a 3-day weekend that occurs like once a year. There are clowns performing still. If you really try, like you can find gigs, but it seems like most of the time people who are hiring clowns, it's like new to them to hire a clown. Like more often it seems like they just wanted someone who could do face painting, maybe someone who could do balloon animals, and that just like happened to come in the form of a clown. So the clown industry is collapsed, but I am not entirely pessimistic. I believe that clowns are actually having a renaissance among young people. Clowncore really fed into this. Not Clowncore the aesthetic, not the band. I think clowning is surviving among queer and artistic youth. I also think it's evolving, and I think that the clown uniform is becoming a lot more unique per individual than I think it has been in decades past. I also believe that more clown types have emerged than just your classic children's clown. I mentioned taunt clowns earlier, but there's also burlesque and drag clowns. I might even say that there's clowns that like primarily or exclusively perform on social media. Like they're not doing tricks, but they're just like being a clown online, like in the same way that cosplayers are kind of dressing up and being a character online, you know what I'm saying? But the Ringling Clown was absolutely iconic and was like a dream career destination for many clowns back then. And even though I loved the clown acts in this year's show, I do believe that Ringling genuinely cares less about preserving the memory of their clowns than they do about preserving the memory of their animals, and their show suffered from it. Okay, so things that I like. So in primarily Korea or Japan, I've noticed there's like unified troops of people doing circus stunts. Like you can join the troupe. I assume you're usually brought in by family though. And then, like, these troops are employed by larger entities, in this case Ringling, to perform. Ringling has such a troupe. It's just the one, and I think they're all from Korea. That's what one of my clown friends said, is that they're from Korea. And they did, like, maybe the most traditional circus stuff in the whole show. And they had a very diverse skill set. There was stunts using seesaws, like they would launch people super high, and then they'd land on, like, a really tall platform, or on top of, like, a tower of people, or on a chair like 100 feet in the air. They did a bunch of bike tricks, like on bicycles, not motorbikes. They did some jumping through hoops. They were doing like flips through hoops, and then some of the hoops were like really tiny. This troupe got like their own sort of uniform language for this show. I definitely got like Power Rangers or Gundam vibes from the shape language of the costumes. I think it was this like triangular shape they were creating with the shoulders and like the waist ratio. There was a lot going on with these guys. Like, while one of them was setting up for a stunt, like they had to move all these props into place, the other half of the troupe was like doing some seesaw flips on the side. So like you always had something to watch, but it wasn't like a million things happening at once that you had to watch. This troupe had the unity that I think the rest of the show desperately needed. The last thing I liked was the salsa dancers. There was a very brief segment. I think they did this for like diversity, or to like appeal to the statistically dominant ethnic population of the United States. But these dancers were present for the rest of the show too. Like they weren't just there for that segment. But yeah, the salsa dancers, those guys killed it. I knew like most of the songs. A lot of them were classics. I was blinded by Puerto Rican pride like the whole time, and I don't really know if it was actually cool or if I was just screaming "Wepa" the whole time. Oh, one more thing. Why is it a musical? Okay, so like this is how the show starts, right? We have a pre-show as people file in. It's like kids' activities. It's a girl asking kids in the crowd what their favorite party food is. We do character introductions by the influencer guy, and then the opening act is a musical number, which you can stream on Apple Music and Spotify. So the beginning of the song is like silence and then some occasional dramatic drum beats. The main singer emerges. I forget the in-character name of the singer, but it's like the main singer of the show. And during the song, we have a backing track with a chorus, kind of like if the other performers were singing with the main character in the background. And the whole cast is performing together. Every performer is doing something, doing stunts. And the song is about how great the show is, how it's everything you ever want, everything you've ever heard, but also sometimes about celebrating talent and maybe even being yourself. Why is it a musical? I know why. I know why it's a musical. I believe that there was a serious conversation in the Ringling boardroom where they lamented that in 2019 Disney acquired ownership of The Greatest Showman. So the songs from that movie, which was about their circus, by the way, were forever out of their reach. And furthermore, there had been news of Disney announcing a stage musical for that movie at D23. I think it was 2024 they announced that. And guess what premiered this year, guys? Guess what stage musical premiered? And millions saw that movie. Like, they saw that movie, and for most it was probably their only time, first and only time ever, consuming a circus show in like some form. Like, most people have probably seen that movie and not a real actual circus. At the end of the show, there's another musical number, which I don't think you can stream. And again, it's about be yourself, and also, wasn't that such a great show? It was the greatest show. Do you know why Ringling is a musical? I know why.